welcome to the Trinity Force Podcast. Yo, it's that Triforce cast beaming straight to your home. Grab a beer so we know Pone ain't drinking alone. Send an email, a quick tweet, just pick up the phone. Leave a message at the beep if you're a creep, watch your tone. Discuss the meta game, patch notes, whatever helps your stats most. Obi-Pone Kenobi is your last hope to snatch gold. So grab your headphones and join in the fun. We'll try enforcing some jokes and some cringeworthy puns. Yo, we can make it together, people. Trinity Force Podcast. These boys are second to none. Now that's the end of the intro. It's time we begun.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 767 of the Trinity Force Podcast. Yes, we are once again live streaming it on Twitch, so you can see all of our wonderful faces this evening. But I am joined tonight by Sean below me.
Hello, hello.
And above me is Chaz.
Hello.
And tonight we are covering the newest patch that's going to hit the Rift, or should I say already has hit the Rift, patch 12.9. But before we get into that, how are you guys doing? Chaz, how you doing, man? You're on top this week, so how does that feel?
It's a little different. You know, I'm used to being in the bot lane, so...
You're on top this week, so...
No, I'll get used to it. But I think everything's been going good for me this week. I'll get used to it. I managed to hit Gold 2 yesterday for the first time this season, so we're getting that much closer to hit my Gold Plat for the season. I think I should be able to hit it. I've been playing a lot of Tristana, so she's been feeling really strong this patch, and it's also like a champ that I spammed a lot on previous seasons, so yeah, it's been going pretty well, and hopefully I keep climbing, you know. Right now, though, like I said, just hit Gold 2, so I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Nice. Glad to hear it. Sean, how you been, man?
Hey, I've been doing pretty good, actually. I started running again, now that the weather's actually been really nice lately. I've been doing like a mile a day, basically, which I've been doing like really, really slow miles, like 14-minute miles, but I've been making sure I don't like walk at all is like the one thing I hate doing, like when you're like running and you have to stop and walk in the middle, so like I don't know. It's been alright, but if you run at all, you know a 14-minute mile is slow as hell, so we'll work on it. I've been going pretty much daily, and yeah, I guess I'm just trying to lose weight right now. I've been trying to do a little bit more dieting, basically, or just kind of eating less, because I've been kind of overeating a ton. So, I mean, that's how you get overweight, and I don't know. I'm working on it right now, and honestly, like, we had like the episode last week where it was like talking to like Coach Curtis or whatever, and like I go and listen to his podcast pretty regularly, and he does a lot of like self-help like kind of stuff, and like equating it to League, and like how you can like use like your ranked grind in League to like kind of reach like I don't know, like work towards other goals in your life and kind of better your life with League instead of just kind of, he calls it abusing League, which I don't, or like League addiction, where like people just sit there and grind League all day. But like, I've never had that problem, but I definitely do want to like kind of like incorporate like playing ranked more. So like this week I have been doing his 3-block process or whatever, like doing the 3 ranked games a day, which I haven't done all season. I tried doing it one day, I think, where I got a little inspired and then gave up right away. And mostly it's because I've been playing on my Smurf and it's been miserable, and I was in Smurf queue forever. I think I'm out now. I'm at Silver 2. And that's about it. I was playing top and it was pretty miserable. I had one day where like I didn't really get ganked at all. I was able to just play out my lanes fine, and I felt like I was just carrying every game. And then I tried to play again today, and it felt like I was getting ganked 20 times in the first 10 minutes of the game, every game. And then
Sure.
got sick of that. So I think I'm just gonna stick with mid. I'm probably just gonna play Victor and Malzahar, like the 2 champions I do actually really like. So I think that's what I'm gonna stick with ranked, and yeah, that's basically what I've been doing for my week.
Gotcha. That Mal's was I didn't have fun with that last night in community game night. You definitely targeted
Yeah,
me
it's
there.
not fun to play against, but
I didn't have fun with your
not.
Darius either. Ugh.
What do you mean? You were hiding the whole laning phase.
targeted
That's not fun to play against.
Yeah, well, I got ganked level 1 by a Nunu. I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah, like that was funny. We gotta play Nunu mid and just ganked every 5 seconds.
ganked level 1 by a Nunu. I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah, like that was funny.
so
Yeah.
Sean, what's like your goal with ranked? Are you just kind of playing just for fun right now, or like you're
Right
trying to
now
hit
it,
something?
it's just to get back into it because I haven't been playing for so long. But I would like to hit diamond. Would be my major goal. I think once you hit diamond, the game starts getting like super sweaty. You have to really be trying your ass off to start climbing from diamond. So like if I could just hit diamond and get the border, I'd be pretty happy with that. You have to really be trying.
You're going for diamond, eh? All right, well, that'd be impressive. You'd be the
Wow,
first one
thanks.
of
Thanks
us
for
that.
your vote of confidence.
Well,
Eric.
no. I'm just saying, like that. Reaching diamond's impressive. It's like depending on how many people are there, it's the top 1% or even less than that are in diamond, and even less than that have any LP and are in diamond because the diamond 4-0 LP is a very real thing. So, I mean, that'd be great if you made it. I mean, the Mals last night, I would say was diamond caliber. Because it stomped my Zeri, which was challenger level Zeri. Come on.
Yeah. I
Now,
honestly,
you've hit plat though, right? In the past.
yeah, I mean, last season I hit plat with like.
Challenger level Zeri. Come on.
Like, I don't want to sound like I'm fucking like egoing, but like I hit plat like kind of not trying, just like goofing around in ranked, like playing whatever. And like if I play like Coach Gurus is talking about, where you literally like main one role and main like the same champions, like I don't think it would be that hard. And like he always talks about on his podcast too about how people will be in like plat and they'll say like their goal is diamond, and they realize it's way harder than they expected, which wouldn't surprise me either, honestly. But from my perspective, like I was just playing a ton of like random shit last season, and then I roll swapped the 80 carry halfway through the season, and it was still like pretty easy to get to plat for me. So I don't think it'll be that hard.
Nah, it's around that. It's whether or not you can keep your mental once you fail a few series trying to get into diamond, because that will happen. And you'll get knocked down like several times probably. I mean, not you, but people in general do. I think once I got into diamond, it was like my 14th series over a few years, but finally after so many series, I managed to get in because people see you're in series, and then honestly, like there's a lot of people that intentionally troll you or do shit like that because they're like, oh, this guy's trying to get to diamond, let's screw with him. And you don't really get that when you're climbing into gold or platinum. People don't really care as much, but into diamond, I found that people really did care and they tried to fuck with me, and that was not fun. But I think you can get there, man. I believe.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I will say is rank has been fucking miserable. Like, it's not been fun. I've really been having to force myself to play it. Like, I do not have a good time playing ranked. I don't know, man. There's something about it where it seems like every game somebody tilts off the face of the planet within like the first 10 minutes of the game, and like I think there was a game yesterday I played where our team was like ahead by a lot, like literally the whole game, and we still had 3 people trying to FF the whole game for whatever reason. I ignore all too, so I don't know what arguments and shit are going on in the chat, but you can guess usually by like the pings. But it's like, dude, we're ahead by a lot, and you guys are trying to forfeit. Like, I don't fucking get it.
Yeah, it's pretty
I don't
goddamn
know.
ridiculous when people are doing that shit. I mean, sometimes like I'll definitely be. It's happened a lot less lately, but like I remember in last season, I would because games were moving so fast, and the first 5 minutes, first 3 minutes were so deterministic or whatever the word is, like the sentiment, but whatever, it would determine so much of who was going to win the game, or at least who was most likely to win the game. That if you're losing by 10 minutes or so, I'm just like, okay, we're not going to lose that much LP. Let me just go to the next coin flip of a game. But now, like this season, with objective bounties, but also with meta shifts and stuff, games are going longer. There's a lot more of comebacks, and it's a lot more ebb and flow. There's a lot more macro rather than just like raw champion strength and who decides to press all their buttons first in the river by Scuttle Crab. So I'm not as much in. I've hardly ever been like, okay, let's just 15 this, because there's almost always at least somewhat of a throw that I'm seeing in plat at least, and it that's the same all the way up and down the ladder. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, in my games, I feel like there's multiple throws every game by both teams, and it's just a matter of like who throws less. You know, one of the things they were talking about too is like playing like the losers game, where like you you play to let the other team make mistakes, and then you just capitalize on them. And I've been trying to focus on that in my games, and you just notice like how many mistakes are constantly being made, just like because I've been spamming Tristana, so I can just constantly punish positioning mistakes, right? ADC walks up too far forward by themselves, are just all in them, right? So yeah, I think I think to your point, like it can be real annoying though, just with how crazy people's mental gets in rank. Um, but it's just like it's part of it. But yeah, like muting the chat is so huge, like you said, because that does help a lot. But yeah, the toxicity is just crazy.
Yeah, it really helps my mental to just I put on some lo-fi music. Like I have a few different Spotify playlists, and I just hit the play button and let it go in the background. Or I'll pick some song and put it on Spotify and put it on repeat. So then for like the next 2 hours, I'm listening to the same song on repeat. And which some people that sounds horrible. It really helps just to keep me centered, though. Also, being
I have
hydrated and well rested and not hungry helps.
yeah, but yeah, I have two soundtracks I always go to. I go to the Cuphead soundtrack, and I go to the Undertale soundtrack. Are my two favorites.
Nice, I like it.
If anyone wants to check out those lo-fi playlists, which I didn't make any of them, yeah, but I listen to Zelda lo-fi. There's a couple of them, and then there's also Poke and Chill. It's a Pokemon themed lo-fi playlist. Fantastic. And then there's another one which is it's Chili Music is the creator on Spotify, with two L's. They also have several different. It's like YouTube videos that are compilations that are either ported over and broken up into songs, or vice versa. I'm not sure, but you'll notice them on YouTube if you see them. It's Homer Simpson and his kids driving or something, and it's like late at night or in the morning or something. It's just got a very chill vibe, and it's just like lo-fi for like 3 or 4 hours in the playlist there. And when I'm streaming for community night or otherwise, I don't use that one because that isn't allowed. But I mean, let me just pull up my Spotify and see which one it is right now. When I do community game night, I always put on well, I guess this one is lo-fi hip hop / chill hop beats. It sounds dumb, but there's like 250 songs that last for 10 minutes, and they've said that there's never going to be any sort of copyright strikes or anything like that because it's just open source music. Then so if you stream and you want something in the background there, and you're worried about that because that is something that I never thought of, but be concerned, then yeah, listen to that. But
Yeah, I might be a bit of a psychopath because I don't listen to anything. I just complete silence. I don't even have like in-game music or the only I even turned like the voice off on the sound because some of those voice lines are really annoying, like the spam laughs or like different things that you could do with it. So I just turned it all off so I don't have to deal with any of it. And I just like focus.
I used to be that way, but then like in season 10 when I was trying to get into Diamond, I just got into lo-fi and I started doing it a lot more. I don't know. It helps me to focus, but if you need to turn it off, more power to you, man.
Yeah, it's just different for every person. But
I'm
yeah.
guessing you're the kind of person also that when you were in school, when you would study, there had to be silence. Am I right? Or close to it?
Yeah, probably. I mean, I didn't really study with music or like TV on in the background. Generally speaking, if I was like really trying to study, like in college, not like studying in elementary school or high school, but but yeah, like when I was seriously studying, most of the time I was in silence.
Interesting. See, I guess it's just different personalities because I like to have something going on, and I always would study better when there's some TV on, like something I've seen before, so I'm not distracted by the plot. But there has to be some TV in the background. Like I go to sleep every night with the TV on now, just so it's like something to just drown out whatever is going on. I don't have to pay attention to it, but just to hear that there's something happening is calming for me.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't do that, but that makes sense.
Yep.
See, I'll put something on until I like feel myself falling asleep, and then like I'll lay on my couch and I'll watch like a Twitch stream or something, and then I'll go and pass out in my bed. So I won't have any. I'll like kind of do both. I guess I won't have anything on when I'm actually sleeping, but I'll like get myself to the point that I'm ready to fall asleep.
I do that, but I usually throw a sleep timer on the TV so that I know, like, I'll put it on for like 2 or 3 hours so that I know I'll be asleep well before then. But uh, then once I'm asleep, it's not running all night, not wasting electricity or anything like that, or internet broadband, whatever. So, yeah, even though I don't pay for my electricity, I don't pay utilities in my specific place, which is really nice. But yeah, yeah, I know my landlord because when they separated, it used to be a single family house. When they separated it into different apartments, then they didn't put separate meters on. So there's 3 apartments here. They don't know who's charging what to electricity, water, gas, because it's gas ranges and gas heating. So I don't get charged for any of it because they can't tell.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
Electricity's not too bad normally, expense wise, but yeah.
It's about to
That's
double
good.
for me though for the next few months because need window ACs. I just put my window AC in a little bit ago.
Zero.
Oh, I meant like my electricity usage, yeah. But last year, like it'd be roughly $60 a month or so for my apartment when I was living with my old roommate, and then it jumped to like 110, 120
Oh yeah.
for the summer months, just because we needed
Right.
window ACs running basically constantly. We were also in a drought here, so it was pretty hot. There wasn't much humidity to cool stuff down, but yeah. In any case, people didn't join on here to the podcast to listen to me talk about my living situation and utilities and stuff. Though maybe I should do an offshoot of that, where it's Eric talks about homes. What they came here to talk about, or listen to, was us talk about the newest patch that just dropped today, which I don't know if I'd use the word significant, but I'd say it's earth rumbling. Like it'd be like a 5 on the Richter scale in an earthquake. Have you guys been in an earthquake before, either of you?
No,
No.
I've been in plenty of hurricanes, but never an earthquake.
Okay, so it'd be like tropical storm. We're not a hurricane, but like you're battening down the hatches. It's you're making sure that you're not out driving or anything like that. We're talking tropical storm, tornado warnings, but nothing touches down. That's what I'm thinking with this. Yeah, I was in an earthquake when I was in Alaska. It was kind of weird. Like I felt like I was still like 150 miles from the epicenter of it, but it was basically like imagine that you're inside of a box and the box, like you're just standing in the middle of this box like a shoebox or something, and you're still, but the box is all moving around you and shaking, and it's not moving you, but it's just moving everything around you. That's what it felt like to me. It was a super it's really hard to describe what it feels like, but that was
Being on a boat.
no. No, because it wasn't big. I mean, it wasn't like I was tipping or moving like that. Like I was stationary. I was not moving in any way, but like the beams were moving in the house where I was. Like I was holding onto those and moving a bit because they were moving back side to side.
Interesting.
Yeah, but in any case, so lots of changes. First, I mean, let's just get right into it. So Olaf is the first change.
Oh well, you skipped one. The challenges, Eric.
Oh, sorry. Challenge. Oh,
So
I didn't know that. I skipped
yeah.
that.
So there's the Remember they made the UI update a little while back, and everybody was kind of mad because they took everything away, and it was real basic or whatever. But they just on this patch released the challenges thing, which is this whole intricate thing where you can earn different like I guess like achievements on the Xbox, right? Like you can earn different like challenges rewards by doing different tasks in game. So It's pretty cool. You can level them all the way up. They start at like bronze. You can level them up to like challenger or whatever, based off of how much you have in them all, and then you can like show them off below your like icon in the lobby or whatever. And then they also are on the loading screen when you come into the game.
So is that why they separated the loading screen when you click into somebody that it's now 2 screens?
Yep. So the first screen is now the mastery screen, and the second screen is like the challenge screen. And it also shows your rank. But in the past, it would show your rank too if you had the rank border on, but it wouldn't show the enemy team's rank. But now it does,
Okay.
which is kind of interesting. So you can see the enemy team's rank in the game. And one other really cool change they did is to the scoreboard at the end of the game. If you play a game, you'll see it. They added, so in the past you would like click into more data and then you could see like the damage chart, you could see the gold chart, you could see everything. They added a lot of that to that scoreboard. So there's now, it shows your total gold, your gold per minute, it shows your damage, for every person. It shows the chart and the number, and then it also shows like your vision, and it shows like all those different metrics. But on that first screen right there, it even puts like a little star next to whoever had the most damage in the game, which makes you feel nice if you do the most damage. But yeah, so it looks pretty clean. The at least like the end game screen. So I'm pretty happy with the changes they made to it. I think it looks pretty nice.
That's
Like
sweet.
it's a pretty cool like UI update to the whole system.
That's sweet. Have you earned any challenges yet?
Yeah, so some of them I already had because they're like collector challenges. So
Okay.
like having all the champions or having a lot of skins or chromas will get you those. Having a certain number of levels. But then I got some for like playing in game. Like I got one earlier that was Unkillable Demon King, and it was like go the whole game without dying. Uh, that's obviously like a nod to Faker, right? So that was cool. So I set that as like one of mine now. I got it to like gold today.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah. So
So
there's some cool little ones. They're
just
like they have 5 different categories, I think.
okay.
And essentially they're like different types of challenges. So based off of like collection, gameplay, um, I don't know, like experience, just all these different little things. We'll have to
Well, as I'm
look
looking
into
at
it,
them,
but
I mean, I'm just looking to see. I opened it up because in the patch notes at the top, there's a separate tab for it. But the challenges tab is now under your profile, and there's imagination, expertise, teamwork and strategy, veterancy, and collection. And then there's legacy as well. So I'm guessing legacy is like have a skin from beta or something. Who knows? But so okay. So am I correct in understanding that these challenges are champion agnostic, whereas Eternals are for specific champions only?
um I think that they are, yes. I'm not sure if all of them are.
Okay, so there might be some that are champion specific or like champion identity specific, like, tanks or something. Okay.
Yeah, there are definitely ones related to like having a certain number of marksman champion collected. I don't think there's any that are specific to one champion, though. I think you're right that those are still exclusive to Eternals.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll definitely be checking this out. I haven't patched my game yet. I haven't even logged in today, so I will do that after we're done and just check it out. That sounds sweet. So
That's pretty cool.
we that'll be the end of us covering challenges, I guess. Here we could maybe go over them in a couple of weeks or so and see what we think after now living in them for a bit. But um, let's get into the actual patch. So then, yes, there are the challenges. Thank you, Chaz. But now, the first big one is Olaf is getting a what they call a mid-scope update. I'd say it's like a mini rework in a way, but he's getting some base stat changes, which you can see on the screen here. He's just basically going to do more damage and be tankier. He was pretty lacking in a lot of that, unless he snowballed. And so his passive is now going to be giving him the healing that was previously on his W, where he would get the Omnivamp when he would activate his W, which would scale up with rank. Now it is, or just maybe it was Lifesteal. I thought it was Omnivamp though at one point, but now it's on his passive, so you don't need to put any points into W. You don't need to use your W to be able to recover health. His Q, the cooldown is longer, and the damage is slower early. Yes, it's lower early. It scales up to the same later on. And there's some small changes in usability, like mana cost changes in minimum range. And if you're a jungler, you play Olaf, you understand what the minimum range means, because you want to, when you're clearing camps, be throwing it down immediately on top of you, so you can then pick it up as soon as possible. But you now, it has a longer cooldown, because when you pick up the axe, it fully refunds it, rather than refunding only a certain percentage or a certain flat amount of it. And then you also shred armor from any champions that you hit. And if you hit them with, let's say you hit them with an axe, it lowers their armor. If you pick up the axe, you hit them again, it'll refresh the debuff. So that's big, because he was having trouble with tanks getting through them. Then his W, like I said, they removed the lifesteal on it, but now it's a basic attack. It's an auto reset. He gets a shield, which is equal to some combination of a flat amount plus missing health plus missing health based on his current health. Cooldown scales down as well. The mana cost is unchanged. I think it was 30 before, so I think it's still 30, or maybe it was free. I don't quite know, but I think it was 30 or 40. The shield, it doesn't last as long as the old thing did of 6 seconds. That would have been crazy. And it still does give attack speed, though. And then his R, this is so much better. His old R was horrendously terrible. So it gives him more AD than before. Well, more flat AD, but less percent AD than before. It lasts half as long, and then his resistances are down early. But the thing is, he no longer loses his resistances when he pressed it, because that was the thing. Olaf is kind of tanky, but then when he presses R, he loses everything that made him tanky. So what's the point of pressing your R, other than, yes, you immune CC, but then you lose your tankiness? It was like, it was very not fun to deal with. But now he doesn't lose that, and he also gets all the bonuses of previously pressing the Ragnarok. So you're immuning CC, and I think you move a little bit faster. I'm not 100% sure on that. But you then also can, if you auto enemy champions or hit them with your E, that true damage lightning bolt, it increases the duration of it, and it can go infinitely, just like Swain. So there were a lot of changes there, but as someone who's played Olaf, here's like my overall thoughts on this. I still don't think I'll play Olaf very much, because I don't enjoy his game patterns, but he is going to be much better late. He's no longer going to be the champion that falls off the hardest in League. I think that he will be still good early, and maybe scarier early, but he'll not be. He's more avoidable, because he has like clearer game patterns, because if he's always going to be healing off of you, so you can just avoid him more often. But if you dodge the Q, he's losing a lot more damage, and he's not getting the armor shred, which is what they intend for him to be hitting to get more damage on you. I think overall, like, the E is unchanged as well, the true damage. So I would say that he's going to probably come back into pro play, is my guess. And we'll see him in solo queue. I think it'll be a little more popular than just, how Rengar is flashed up right now and people are playing him, but it's already falling off. Like, I'm already seeing less Rengars than the first couple of days, but I think overall it's
I
a good
feel
direction.
Like this is in line with almost like the Ari rework, where like it's really gonna bring him back. Like, I'm pretty nervous about it. Like, the Q cooldown resets fully if you pick up an axe. Now, you can only throw an axe every 3 seconds, but at level 1, you can throw an axe every 3 seconds as long as you pick it up. I mean, that's pretty crazy. The ult going on indefinitely as long as he keep fighting seems pretty good. I think he's going to be a menace, especially in solo queue.
It's also worth noting that he's going to be, like you said, it's going to be harder to get away from him as well, because he should be taking approach velocity, one of the few champions that takes that, to move forward faster towards champions that they've slowed or stunned or applied crowd control. So he's getting on you. When he hits you with an axe, you're not getting away from him. and it's cheaper to use this, and it still slows the same amount. So it's 20 mana less rank 1. Like if there's an invade, you're not getting away from Olaf. Olaf will chase you and your team down. You have to dodge that first axe or you're fucked.
Yeah, and the lower he gets, the more damage he's going to do to you. Like I think he's going to be pretty scary. But we'll see. Maybe that's just me as the ADC, you know. Olaf makes me a little nervous.
I mean, I'm with you. I'm a jungler, and I think that this is going to be scarier. I'm not super worried based on the champions that I play, but overall, like if you're playing Xin Zhao, if you're playing Lee Sin can't deal with this at all. If you're playing other bruisers like Viego, cannot deal with this guy at all. Though he'll be terrifying if he possesses him. I don't know. Elise can't deal with this guy at all. A lot of the earlier non-tank junglers cannot deal with him. Although Poppy, I can't pick Poppy into this. Poppy will get destroyed by this guy. So, whereas the old Olaf, I wouldn't have been that worried. I would have been like, oh, they picked Olaf. It's kind of a free win.
Yeah, I think mobility still counters him. You know, like kiting him still will work. You know, doing things like Anivia, dropping a wall, something that like can't, you know, dodge with his R. But yeah, so there's still like those same counters will still work in the same way. And he is like fairly one-dimensional where he just runs straight at you. But yeah, if you're playing like an immobile type champ or a fighter, yeah, this is going to be a tough one to 1v1 now. You know, he already was, but now he's going to be worse.
As you're talking about like kiting him and mobility and stuff like that, I'm just kind of thinking that he was before a much worse version of Udyr in the current meta. Now I'd say they're probably comparable. Maybe Udyr is still better because he's way faster and he's got more mobility overall. He doesn't have as much damage as Olaf has, but I don't know. Like I think they're pretty similar, and I don't know how often you guys see Udyr. I play him, so I see him pretty often. I don't ever face him though, but I feel like now they're on par because Udyr came up right about the time Olaf fell off the face of the map with heavy nerfs to healing and then himself as well. And Udyr's kind of stuck around since. I don't know. Do you guys see what I'm saying there or no? Sean, what do you think, man? You've been pretty quiet this whole time.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's kind of always felt like Udyr Light to me. But I guess I don't have too much of an opinion on the changes. I've seen a couple Olafs today, actually, and like the one thing to think about, I think, is that the duration on the R, if you don't extend it at all, is very short. Like I had one Olaf try to gank me and he used it like in a river bush, like mid lane. And by the time he even got close to me,
Just ran out.
Yeah, it just ran out. So it was like you gotta be a lot more careful with it, I guess, because that is a lot quicker, like the 3 seconds.
Yeah.
Off it.
Yeah, that's
true. Yeah,
that's a
because
big deal.
a lot of Olafs would like pop it and run in almost like a ghost, you know, because like you said, I think it gives move speed. So
it used to give move speed towards enemy champions for the first second. I don't know if it still does.
Interesting. But yeah, that does make sense. Like you kind of have to pop it more when you get jumped on or like when you're actually fighting.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't see anything about it, so my guess is that they didn't touch that. But yeah. Okay. So that's the end of the first mini rework that we have. The second one we have is Talia. So I'll just run through all of this again. So lots of base stat changes. Essentially, she's getting more mana, but less regen. They're trying to push her back into the jungle. They're making her squishier and move slower. Like her health is down, her health regen's down, her health regen growth is down, her armor's down, her move speed's down. All the regen stuff is down, which is going to make you either be super low econ and low, so basically a support, like you see mid beast playing support Talia, or jungle. And I think she's going to be exclusively a jungler because like 500 health level 1, that's pretty low as a base health metric there. But her passive is much better because you don't fall off nearly as fast from you don't fall off nearly as fast when you're going between terrains. So now you can actually cross in those mid bushes. You can cross between the two of them and not fall off the rock, which was huge. They also claim that they've fixed that bug where if you have Banshee's Veil and it's procced while you're surfing, you don't lose it for the rest of the game. I'm sure we'll see a Vanderil video that, oh, Riot didn't actually fix it. They just fixed it with one specific occurrence. But we'll see. And then the move speed scales differently. You're not as fast overall on the wall, but it's much more reliable. So I'd say it's overall probably better and it feels better to use. Her Q, this got the most changes of anything, so it's more expensive to cast early. Later, it's not. The cooldown is down by all metrics. The single rock damage is down, and the damage reduction from subsequent ones are also down. So you're taking less damage for the second, third, fourth, fifth rocks that you're getting hit with. The overall rock damage is also down, which makes sense because of the subsequent stuff. Monsters take less damage as well. However, they now deal AoE damage like they used to when she came out. They deal a small AoE around them. There's some quality of life changes as well, like she can use it while she's in stasis. And also they use the Teemos as that. Yeah.
They did one other really cool thing where the work ground, they changed how that worked. So now when you throw it out, you get your 5 rocks on your first throw, and then you create a space of worked ground under you. So it gives you that little circle that you're in. If you go back inside of that work ground, you throw another rock, the work ground goes away. So then you don't have to, like, in the past, you had to just sit there and wait for it. And every time you queued inside of that worked ground, you would just throw one rock. But now you like throw a boulder. It's like a bigger rock. And then the work ground goes away completely. So then you can get your 5 rock throw in again.
Right.
So
the boulder
that feels really nice, I think.
Yeah, the boulder's higher damage and it's a larger AoE and it slows everyone that's hit as well. The mana cost on your worked ground was 1 before, so it allowed people to stack their tier, but now it's more expensive. Worked ground is larger again, and the size of worked ground on Howling Abyss now matches Summoner's Rift. I didn't know there was a disconnect there, but that's it for the Q. That's just the Q, keep in mind. Now we have the W, which it now no longer does any damage. No damage. The cooldown is lower across the board. The knock-up radius is bigger, so it'll knock you up a little bit more. And then the delay before the knock-up is slightly less, so it's more reliable to hit. And then also the mana cost goes down to being free at level 5. But that is not really that big of a deal because I'm going to guess that this is going to be her last max. So you're not getting the actual benefit of it being free until level 18. However, it's 30 mana cheaper until level 13 till level 14 when you start to put points into this after the first. So it's just like a single point, one point wonder now, definitely more than before. Her E also has changed. The cooldown is up. The damage is up as well. If someone tries to dash through it, they're stunned for 1 second. Also the radius has changed, so it was like a diamond before almost, but now it's like a little bit of a diamond or a little bit of a pyramid, and then it goes really longer. So it goes longer, but not as wide now.
They took the shape and they rotated it 90 degrees, and that's the new shape.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
They instead of 4 rows of 6, it's 6 rows of 4.
Ooh, I like it. A matrix.
If that makes sense.
Yep. When those things go away, they no longer do extra damage. So that's also something. But the big thing is that they stun when they go through now, which is really cool. The max stun duration is 2 seconds, and monsters are always stunned for the max duration. Again, a nod to her trying to be pushed into the jungle. And then her R, also a big buff too. So it gets up to being a longer wall, so it'll go further as you put more points into it. And you can now jump further off of the wall, and you jump faster off the wall when you jump. Taking damage no longer knocks you off the wall. However, you can no longer use it until if you're in champion combat. You have to be outside of champion combat to use it. but yeah, it says damage from enemy
3
champions
seconds,
or
yeah.
structures. Yeah, stops her from casting it for 3 seconds. But she can now
Gotcha.
actually be more creative in jumping further off as opposed to literally just hopping right next to the wall and then being a sitting duck. So there's that. And then there's a couple of bug fixes as well, like we said. We'll see if those actually get worked. But overall, lots of Talia stuff. This is almost close to an actual rework, is how I feel. Like all the abilities are they function differently and they work all differently. But I've talked enough about this. Chaz, you've seen it in game today, right?
Yeah, I've seen it twice.
How did it feel? Or how did it look?
It looked like the old Talia to me. I mean, it was kind of the same where if you're hitting your Qs and you're throwing your rocks in the right direction, you're going to be doing good damage. Landing W's into your E stun, really impactful. The R still takes a lot of skill expression. I had one really bad Talia and one really good Talia, and you could still tell the difference pretty easily. So I think the champion's still gonna be high skill cap and very rewarding for like high mastery, but yeah, I don't really have a good call on like where it fits right now into the meta as far as strength because it kind of just looked the same to me, but I don't really know if that's just like because it's only day one.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sean, you were playing some games earlier. Did you see Talia at all?
Yeah, but I mean, I'm gonna say that pretty much the same thing Chaz said. It didn't feel much different than old Talia. There are definitely like the little weird things. Like she shoots like a big Q now if you like shoot the Q in worked ground, and I noticed her all like knocked me back. Like when she made the wall, I was standing near the wall and it like shot me backwards. I don't know if it used to be like that or what, or
It
if
did,
that's
yeah.
new.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. So
kind of
like,
like
yeah,
a
I mean,
Nubia wall, but further.
yeah. I don't have much to say about it. She's kind of a weird champion, so it'll be kind of weird to see more of her because you used to basically never see her, and now I'll probably see a little bit more of it, but yeah, I don't have too much of an opinion on that.
Okay, gotcha.
The jungle Talia in my game today decided to gank my lane, and she ulted in, but the enemy ADC was a Vayne, so they just condemned her into her wall that she made, stunning her and killing her.
Oh
So
my god.
yeah, yeah, it was pretty great.
Yeah, I don't. I'd say if you want to get a good read on how to play the Talia or how to do that, I'd say just watch Mid Beast because in Korea he's been playing lots of support Talia, and I'm sure that he'll be trying out the Talia. He said he was excited to check it out, so check out his Twitch stream and his YouTube videos and stuff when he posts them. So that'd be about it. I don't play Talia as well. I don't enjoy her, so I don't have much of a comment on how this would feel. But I'd be shocked if she's not in pro play again, because I'm guessing that her clear is gonna again be quite fast. Although it's not very healthy, kind of like Kiana's clear or a Karthus clear. But as we're seeing
Yeah,
with MSI, no spoilers on anything, but MSI, there are Karthus jungles being picked. So
yeah, we'll have to see though, because the pro play won't get to play on this patch until
summer.
until summer. So we're gonna have 12-10. We're gonna have everything else. So
Yeah.
who knows where it'll be at that point?
Yeah, we'll
But
get it before them. Ha, pro players.
yep.
All right. Cool. So, Sean, do you want to cover the next one? No longer any more mini reworks, just normal champions. You want to cover Ari?
Sure. So just increasing the cooldown on her E from 12 to 14 seconds, and increasing the cooldown on her ultimate. It was 140 to 90. It was 130 to 80. Now it's 140 to 90. So yeah, I mean, I think Ari is literally like the best mid laner right now, or like top 3. So like, she
I think
definitely
she's the
needs some
best.
sort of nerf. Yeah, like I've mentioned it before on the podcast. I feel like the champion feels very bullshit to play against. It's kind of like a combination between assassin and like a control mage, but the ultimate ability to just kind of dash around makes you feel super safe at pretty much any given time. And it feels really bad to play against for immobile champions, or an Ari can get up in your face and just dash out freely, basically, without feeling at any risk. On
Yeah.
top of that, her Q and her Q is fairly good wave clear. It's not great, but like compared to other assassins that usually have a harder time clearing the wave, you can just kind of sit there and use Qs on the wave.
Yep, she also. I'm just looking at the stats. So this I don't know. I mean, there's other things that have been changed and other champions that have been changed, but Ari has dropped 2 percentage points in win rate, so she's now slightly below 50% win rate with these
Yeah,
two
but
changes.
it's like the first couple hours of the
There's
patch still.
there's 9,500 games already, which is
Okay.
more than some champions get in a whole patch. Granted, when
Well,
there
that
was
should say something
220,
about her strength then, right?
yeah,
I still think she's pretty strong. Yeah, I think Ari, like you said, Sean, is at least on the last patch was like probably the strongest mid laner in the game. So it's well deserved that she's getting a nerf. I wish they were touching her damage instead of her cooldowns, but at least like next patch, everybody's damage will be less. So maybe that'll help.
yep. So, next one. Chaz, you want to cover Braum?
Sure. So Braum, looks like they're not changing too much on him, but they're changing his passive. So okay, so the passive is that you can stack it 4 times. If you deal any damage, so auto or a Q to a champion, you'll apply Braum's passive, and then at 4 stacks, it'll pop the passive and stun that enemy. So you can only do that. There's a cooldown on that, and that current cooldown is now being decreased late by just a couple of seconds. So just allows you to get that stun up more often in the late game. And then his E, which is the big shield, the damage reduction is being increased late as well, which just will make him more durable in team fights late in the game, more able to just kind of stand in the front and absorb everything. Absorb the big burst combo. Kind of that's his role, I guess, in team fights. So I I feel like Braum's always pretty decent in certain situations, but he's kind of like a counter pick in a lot of ways. Like the enemy ADC is playing like Misfortune. It's a great time to pick Braum, right? They're playing Ezreal, like stuff where you can like block it with the shield, but then there's certain champions that Braum just doesn't really do much into. So um, I I'm glad to see him kind of get a little nudge though, because I think Braum personally is like, I don't know, one of the most like wholesome champions. I just like Braum a lot,
He
like as
is.
a champion. So I don't it's hard to get mad at like even playing against Braum. Like sometimes I don't know.
He truly
So
is the heart of the Freljord, that's his line of what he's called. Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like Braum is just so chill. I don't care if Braum is good or if he gets a buff. Like he's situationally good, and the champions that he's good against are rising in popularity. Like you said, Misfortune. I mean, Ornn is rising in popularity, and he's a very common pick into Ornn. He's common into others that have. I mean, like Draven is getting more popular, I think, and he's good into the Draven R or just ADCs in general he's good into. So artillery mages as well. Like, he's just a very good anti-engaged champion. And he's good in extended team fights as well. So with everyone getting more durable soon, I think that Braum will be even more valuable then because he'll be able to block more damage and all of that. But um, I don't know if these specific buffs make that much of a difference, though.
Yeah, it sounds like these are kind of ones where they're just like, hey, don't forget that he's here. He's still a champ. You can play him. He's still pretty good. Because I don't even feel like before this patch that Braum was particularly bad. Like he was still
No?
pretty strong at like absorbing damage and doing the same kind of role. This just makes him like slightly better, but maybe it like puts him on people's radar, and yeah, it's just like a nice little bump. So
Yeah, and Braum was played in MSI already as well. So, not saying if it was successful or not, but he was played in a game. So even before this, at least he was on the pro players' radar. Which I don't. This might be a push to tell also pro players he exists. I remember a few years ago seeing stats that Braum was the most pick support and the highest win rate support or highest win rate pro play presence champion of all time. He had like a 55% win rate over several years and one of the most picked, just because he's so reliable. Like you're saying, he's in the spots he's good in. He's very clearly very good. He has very clear weaknesses, which are not really exploited a lot by playing mages bot lane or other things like that. So yeah, I'm all cool with Braum getting better. Yep. All right, next one. Ooh, Hecarim. Lovely. Everyone's favorite stampeding horse. So his Q AD scaling is increased and his W cooldown is decreased. He's going to do more damage with his Q, and his W is going to be up more often. So the W is the heal, the AoE, and the Q is the other thing there. I would say that I don't quite love that they're buffing Hecarim. I enjoy a meta where Hecarim is garbage and is not seen, as I think most League players do, especially ADCs. But and I guess also mid laners, like everyone enjoys that unless you're a Hecarim player. But I don't think this will actually push him to be that much better. But I don't know. Like, Sean, what do you think, man?
I kind of hate Hecarim. I'm in the Hecarim hater. The champion just feels super snowbally to me. Like no matter what, like it's either he's like super useful or like he can just run over like early games, and then like he's just super ahead and runs through your team, and just kills your squishies. And I prefer not having to deal with them, especially after pretty much all last year was like Hecarim Udyr meta. It's kind of scary for them to buff him, but
Yeah, it
yeah.
really seems like they don't want Hecarim to be weak. Like, feels like every time he gets a little bit weak, they're like, "Oh, we need to buff him again," and then some new build comes up and he's top of the meta, just again. So I don't know.
Yeah. But I don't know if this will push him up that much. I mean, let me even see. Let me look on stat sites to see. Hecarim right now, 47% win rate. Last patch, 45.5. So I mean, I trust Riot. Like he deserved to be buffed. He was terrible. He's still
Yeah,
not
if he
that
was
good.
doing that bad.
He was 45. Yeah, he deserved a buff. So yeah, but I don't think this will make that much of a difference. I'm still cool with him being a sub 40 or sub 50% win rate, sub 48 or so. But yeah. Okay, another jungler in a row. I'll cover this one too. Master Yi, bonus R attack speed reduced. So he gets less attack speed as it goes on. Rank 1 is still the same with his R. I think that this sounds like it really won't do that much. I didn't think Master Yi was that terrifying. If you guys think, has he been a terror for you at all? Or
But he is sometimes. He's kind of the low elo stomper, right? So I'm sure if you're playing in like silver or bronze games and you lock in Yi in the jungle, you could probably have a great time. But yeah, I don't find him to be particularly more scary than he usually is. It's just like if you have CC, you can kill him. If you don't, then he's gonna run through your team. But it doesn't feel like particularly any worse right now. I feel like so. I guess he just needed a little nudge, but
his win rate hasn't noticeably changed at all, I will say.
yeah. I mean that's pretty small, the change.
Yeah.
It's only on his R. It's yeah.
Yep. Cool. So next one, another jungler, Nidalee. Her health is going down.
That's it.
That's it. I don't really have anything else to say. Like, if you're a bad Nidalee, this is gonna hurt more. If you're a good Nidalee, this really doesn't hurt you that much because you're able to kite camps and do damage to them and get around everything well. So the good Nidalee players, the really good high elo Nidalee players, this shouldn't make a difference at all. I don't think.
Yeah. This is one of those champs that I feel like only gets played in like Diamond Plus
Yeah.
like that's where it's like they're balancing it for really, because that's where people optimize, I guess, playing it mechanically.
Yep. So next one is Pike. Another champion I play. So Pike's getting a few changes. They're trying to kick him out of solo lane, which came up again. So basically, what they're doing is they're increasing the amount of health he recovers when he takes damage. It turns to gray health when he's around 2 or more enemies. Because if you're just around one enemy or no enemies, you actually get a significantly smaller amount of your health gets converted to that. Then his Q now refunds mana upon hitting an enemy champion. Whoa. But the mana cost is up, so wow, that's an expensive ability now. Rank 5, it's 90, and that's his first max. Oh my gosh.
I mean, that kind of makes sense, though. A lot of support hook champions have really expensive mana costs on their Q. That's what they did to a Mumu. That's what they did to Blitzcrank. Like, because those abilities are just so impactful if they can keep spamming them. So they got to make it so that like you can only throw it so many times without being punished.
Does Thresh have an expensive hook or a long cooldown hook? I don't know.
His cooldown's decently long. It's relatively the same though to the rest of them.
Okay.
His mana isn't that bad though at all. No.
Okay.
He has actually pretty decent mana. I feel like.
Gotcha.
Blitzcrank is like the most egregious. I think like Blitzcrank, you could throw like 3 Qs and then you're out of mana or something like that. It's like 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry, I was just seeing there
now.
was a tornado warning that just came up in my area, so just checking that out. Should be fine though. So and then his other thing is cooldown. And his R is now it's more, you get it more often always, but he no longer receives a your cut gold successfully upon killing someone. Basically, he would get the kill, and he would get a your cut, and if there was an assisting ally, they would get a your cut. If there was no assisting ally, he would get 2 your cuts. And then
No.
Pike now receives
they only divvy out 1 your cut, but if he solo killed, he would and got it with his ult, he would get the cut.
Oh, gotcha. Yep.
Yeah,
so he would get the double. Yeah.
He can't get the cut if he solo kills. He can only give it away.
Right. That's what they're saying. Yeah. So, and then he no longer gets an additional one when he kills, when he's using it before. If someone dies before it goes off, then he no longer gets it as like a makeup. But that would happen pretty often. He does still. I'm sure he'll still get the reset of the R.
Yeah, the
like
reset
he did before.
still goes off. You just don't get the cut anymore. Yeah, you have to kill with it.
Yeah. So this is making it that bad pikes are going to be hurt more because you need to hit your Q to be able to have mana in lane, and you need to hit your R and kill someone with the R in order to actually get the gold income that you need, and you need to be around other enemies, or around more enemies that you're getting the health back that you want. So overall, I'd say this is I don't think it's a buff at all. I think if you're good at Pike, and you're like pretty good at Pike, this is neutral. If you're not that good at Pike or you're missing stuff, this is always a nerf.
Yep, this just makes him more of a mechanically intensive champion than before.
Yeah, his win rate so far has dropped 1.4 percentage points. He was S plus tier on U.GG. Now he's D tier. That is insane.
I think he'll level out a little bit higher than D tier, but
I think so too. I think he's probably like a C plus if you're just picking him up casually.
Better than that, even. I mean, he's probably still like B or A in my opinion, but we'll see. I think good supports, playmakers that really know how to use his kit well will still make him shine. Because I mean, they didn't like nerf any of his damage or anything in terms of like, using your abilities normal as a support. So I don't know. I think he's still gonna be really good.
Yep, and see in chat here that Colexican Mafia, that's an interesting name, is saying that raising Pike's skill floor is a good thing. I agree with that. Ooh, that was a loud lightning, but yeah, I agree. Raising his skill floor is good. He shouldn't be a super low skill floor and be as impactful as he is with that. So, Chaz, you want to cover Renata?
Sure. So Renata's been pretty dominant in the support role. really since her release. So they're kind of
Nerfing her again here.
they're reducing her base armor by 2, which is pretty minor, but still a nerf. And then they're also reducing her passive damage, which I think that is pretty significant. Renata's passive basically applies a mark when she auto attacks an enemy, and the next subsequent attacks that your teammates do will deal magic damage and like blow up that mark and give like additional damage. Um, and so, if you're taking objectives like Baron, Renata actually does really good at like burning through Baron. She's really good at like helping you burst a single target. So pulling that back down a little bit as she scales is what they're kind of going for here. And I think it's an overall good change because, like I said, she's just been so high on the tier list right now that she kind of needs a little knockdown. Hopefully, this puts her a little bit more in line. I still think she's going to be really strong, though. She's got a very powerful kit.
Yeah, I don't see her really that often at all. Sean, do you agree?
Oh, really?
No, I really don't see her very much.
Yeah, I haven't really been seeing her either, but she has been like the top support or whatever basically since she came out, I think. I mean, we talked about her pretty in depth, but I feel like she feels pretty bad early, and then all of a sudden she scales up and she's kind of crazy late, so nerfing the passive definitely helps with that for sure.
Yeah, I do think into particular matchups in the bot lane, she's a really good counter pick. Nautilus is one that I think of because if Nautilus hooks her, kind of like Janna with Tornado, where you can like throw the Q as Nautilus hooks in and kind of like knock him up so that he doesn't actually pull all the way in. You could do the same thing with Renata. So like, there's a couple meta picks right now, like Nautilus Leona, that I feel like she actually does really well into. And then like her ult is just so impactful, right? And they're not touching that at all. So like things like that are still going to be really huge.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else on Renata, or should we move on?
Good.
Move on. It is.
Moving on.
Our former top laner, who was former an ADC main, who was formerly a mid main, who was formerly a top main, Sean. Do you wanna take Renekton?
Sure. So they're increasing his health and AD growth, W base damage is getting increased, and the cooldown is increased early and decreased late, and the R base damage is also increased. So they kind of nerfed the shit out of Renekton for pro play. I don't know, for whatever reason pro teams love him. It's like a meme that LS like hates Renekton because he like falls off pretty hard, but he is a very lane dominant champion. He's a fairly safe pick with his E. He controls quite a few lanes and he's just like a good early game champion that teams can just rely on or just kind of mindlessly pick, I think is the problem with it. So he's been terrible for solo queue for a while. All his cooldowns are massive. His kit has basically everything you would want in a top laner, but the cooldowns are so high that you have to use his spells like fairly well to actually get full value out of them. So I'm glad they're buffing him. I was like thinking of champions I could main or like one trick, and like Renekton was actually one of the ones that came to mind. But then I looked at his win rate and it's like 45%. I was like, Jesus, like that's so low. But I still wouldn't mind it. Renekton has very few bad matchups. He's one of the few bruisers that deals with ranged champions fairly well because of his E and because of the stun. So yeah, I like the buffs personally.
Cool. Yeah, I think he needs buffs
bring
overall.
back Renekton.
Yeah. All right.
He's I feel like he's just so prevalent because like all those pro players must have been like maining him in solo queue or something, right? Like it's got to be like just in their champ pool. Like they want to play him regardless of how weak he is. So they must just really like playing him.
Yeah, I mean he was meta in pro forever. Like the Renekton Nidalee meta was like a whole thing, right? But yeah, I don't know. He's a good. He feels good to play too. Like all his abilities kind of auto attack reset or whatever. So you like auto Q, auto W. I don't know. He just feels good to play.
Yeah, he does. Well, another Rengar, his W damage against monsters decreased. Basically, they just want to make it so his clear is slightly slower because they are reverting the buff that made it so that he was able to clear faster to get people to play him, but now people are playing him, so they don't need to have that buff in anymore because he's clearing too fast. And there's a bug fix as well, but I don't think that this will really change it. Good Rengars will be good, bad Rengars will still be bad, and if you see Rengar, play Poppy into it because it destroys Rengar always. That's
Sounds
about
good.
it. Cool. Next one, Shyvana. Her W damage tick rate was decreased. So every now, instead of 1 second, every 0.5 seconds, you're taking damage from the W, and that applies also to her E somewhat. The area of effect zone from her E now applies marks to enemies that enter the zone. Oh, gotcha. So before it was probably that only if you were hit by the initial blast were you hit with the mark. Now it's if you step on it as well, you're also hit with that. Okay, cool. This is better for her.
I'm thinking if that means like if you build Leandries and you like walk in, it'll like apply the burn or something, like demonic, something like that.
Yeah. She apparently has a 52% win rate, or 51.6% win rate right now. Up from, actually it's slightly down. So basically she's a 52% win rate champion right now. So if you understand how to play her and enjoy her, you're going to have a good time.
Oh yeah. Siobhan's pretty good, especially right now too. I think like her AD build is actually pretty popular. That like AD bruiser kind of tanky style.
Yeah. Okay, next one. Everyone's favorite split pusher, Scion. Scion's damage now does 60% reduced damage to structures while when he's in his reanimated form, and that includes all the runes and items and everything. It was just too much. Like for people that aren't aware, there was the Baus, and he was streaming, and people were picking up Scion and just murdering turrets and stuff. So it's just too. You basically have to constantly have 2 to 3 people babysitting Scion and stopping him from destroying your structures and ending the game, and they're reducing the viability of that strategy a bit.
Yeah, I mean, you send 3 people, you kill him, and then he just kills your turret in your face, right? Like you can't actually stop him.
And then
That
his
feels
death
pretty
timer
bad.
starts when you first killed him, so then after he dies again, it's 15, 10 seconds, and he's up again.
Yep. Early in the lane, he can just die, clear the wave, TP back immediately, not lose anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a good change.
Yep. All right. Thresh is getting some changes. Sean, do you want to cover that?
Sure, they're increasing the passive AP and bonus armor per soul, and the W shield strength scaling with souls was increased. So just some basic Thresh buffs to his passive. Thresh has also been super low win rate. He's also like his kit's kind of crazy, so his numbers have to be kept down or he's like pick or ban in pro play. So I like it. I think he was literally like the second worst support win rate last patch, so he like definitely needed some sort of buffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those like high elo though, where like he always has to have a below 50% win rate, because if it is too high, then like that's just he's OP at that point. But I do think the W buff is pretty significant. They're changing it so that like you're going to get +2 per soul instead of +1. So I think that like by late game, you can expect your shield basically to be twice the size that it used to be. So
Gotcha.
that should be pretty significant for him. So
Yeah.
especially a lot of Threshes now are going Shield Max Guardian. I've seen that as well as like a build. So yeah, or like Lantern Max, sorry, which is your shield. But yeah,
Very cool. So we'll see how that affects him. last champion getting changed is Varus is getting his passive attack speed gain on minion and champion kills increased. That was nerfed a while ago. And then the W on hit damage, the passive on his W, is getting increased as well. That damage is not the AP ratio, so AP Varus users rip. It's just the flat damage is going up. That sounds good. I mean, on hit Varus is really fun to watch, and it's a lot of skill expression in positioning and understanding team fights. So I'm totally on board with that being good. Jazz, are you going to start playing on hit Varus?
I do like on hit Varus a lot, and I did see this in a game earlier today actually, and I think that now the slight buff to his passive, when he does like last hit, you can kind of notice the bonus attack speed now. In the past, like it didn't really feel very noticeable, but I could kind of see like the enemy ADC noticeably start attacking faster when they killed a minion. So, and then obviously like the buff what you get when you kill a champion is really big. You get like excited like you would on Jinx kind of, and that was already pretty big. So I don't think that's going to be too different, but I do think it's a nice little bump. He's probably already pretty viable though.
Yeah.
On hit right now, like he's got good range, he's got good damage, so I could definitely see him making a resurgence. I would love to play Varus on hit. I like him a lot, so I like the
Gotcha.
utility of his kit.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun for sure.
Mhm.
Yep. All right. Last change here is Hullbreaker is getting. It says it's an update or an adjustment. I'd say it's a nerf overall. Basically, what they're doing is they're trying to push it more for split pushers and less as a de facto first item, bruiser item, and making you lose a lot more of the bonuses that you get while you're around other allies. So that's what they're doing. And I mean, the champion bonus resists while hunting alone are higher when you're also as the game goes on, which makes sense because split pushing isn't a thing until later on into the game. And then the melee and range numbers are changed respectively, of course. And then also abilities no longer deal, and then abilities. Basically, this is for Scion's ult. No longer deal bonus damage against structures. That's what it's for. So.
Yeah, Yorick's ghouls as well.
Oh, right. I didn't even think about that. That's a good one. Yep. So, and then this would not affect anything that procs on hit stuff. So if we're thinking like a Fiora Q or an like Yorick's Q as well, those count as auto attacks for the purposes of calculations and items. So those would not be affected by these, but other non-auto attack abilities that do turret damage would be. So if for some reason you're building split push Rammus with Hullbreaker, it's not going to work anymore with his ult.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I like the changes because like it makes it so, right now it's like you buy Hullbreaker first, then you build, like your other bruiser items, and then buy like 2 or 3 items. You can just team fight with Hullbreaker because the raw stats that it gives you are good enough that like even when you lose the buff, it's still fine as long as you have a couple other items. But then like early, it really gives you such a big boost in power and laning that like if the enemy doesn't have it, you're just winning the 1v1 at that point. And I like that it's now going to be more like focused on scaling late into the game as opposed to like you buy it as your first item. And then yeah, the nerf to like the structure is like you said a Scion nerf really.
Yep.
No more ulting into the 2 Nexus towers to blow them both up.
Yep. That was a disgusting thing that would happen. Yep. Okay. I'm not seeing any major bug fixes as well that are worth noting. It's just fixing specific things that were needing to be fixed, like not healing, Lily not getting enough healing, Aurelia with some bugs on her stuff, Udir's bear stance was getting some wrong textures, stuff like that. So, but yeah, there are some cool skins. The High Noon skins are coming back out, and those are a crowd favorite usually. Prestige High Noon Town looks really cool, but mainly the EDG skins are coming out, and those almost all of them. Actually, I'd say all of them. I think they're really sweet. They look fantastic. I might go get one of them. I don't play any of the champions on here. Like I don't play Graves. I play Viego sometimes, but I don't love it as much as the Lunar Beast one. I don't play Aphelios. I'm not gonna buy Yumi for the ARAM skin, but if I get it in a champion shard, I'll totally get it. Maybe the Zoe one, just because Zoe's so awesome. But that's about it. Skin wise and stuff like that. Are you guys gonna be buying any of the EDG skins? Or maybe the
No,
EDG skin
I
bundle? You're
don't
gonna
play
drop like $50
Aphelios.
for however much that costs.
I mean, it's tempted. The Aphelios and Graves ones look really good. They're two champions I'd consider playing.
Yeah,
I think
Yeah.
like personally for like the like world skins or whatever, like these actually look really really good, especially for like Aphelios who doesn't have that many. He only has like 3 skins, I think.
I
So
think
it's
he
a
only
really
has
good
2
skin for him.
besides the classic
Yeah.
right now. Yeah.
Yeah. he's got-
Yeah.
So
yeah, exactly. This is his third. So yeah.
for sure,
And he's got so many different guns and stuff that like they can really kind of do some cool effects with that. So that would be cool.
definitely will
I
be.
don't play Aphelios a lot though, so I probably won't get it. But yeah.
And AR Earth is going live this patch. I know, exciting.
Earth.
So other than that, that was patch 12.9. Be sure to join us on community game nights at 7:15 Eastern Standard Time every week, and we're playing community games and streaming them basically every week. I will not be there next week because I'm going to be visiting family, but the community night will still go on. So go ahead and check it out, everyone. And then also, we not this Saturday, but next Saturday, the 21st, we are still having our what's it called? The Rotating Rules Ruckus. It's a Summoner's Rift 5v5 tournament where we change the rules on every individual match, and the players do not know what they will be until they are in the game. So be sure to sign up for that. The sign up is, you can find that in our Discord through a couple different announcements, but it will also be in the podcast release of this, as well as the YouTube VOD release of this as well. And actually, let me just post it in Twitch chat as well. So all you people who decided to come out and watch us, thanks for showing up and asking questions and stuff, can sign up for it. Here you go. But yeah, go ahead and sign up for that. It should be a lot of fun. But anything else, guys, before we call it a night? I just want to get this done just because there's tornado warnings happening in my area, so I don't want to.
Yeah, I can see the lightning in the back.
Yeah, if you were able to see, like I can hear some hail outside, and I heard the sirens a few minutes ago going off. So I just
Oh,
want to,
Lord.
get out of here before I lose internet or anything like that, and it cuts off. So,
Gotcha. Well, catch me on my solo queue grind on Twitch, USC_9. It's my channel, but yeah, otherwise nothing else.
Okay, sweet. So, thanks for tuning in, everyone, and we will not be seeing you next week. We will not be recording. We're going to release a Patreon episode, so no live stream next week, but we will be streaming the tournament, and then that Wednesday afterwards, we will be back on streaming episode 768. So, thanks for listening. Take it easy, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.